Hello students, welcome back to the online classes. Today we will continue with the poem The Listeners. Okay, the first part of the poem we have finished in the previous class. So I will read the second part. And he smote upon the door again a second time. Is there anybody there? He said. Here, the meaning of smote is hit hard. Okay, smote meaning hit hard. So, and he smote upon the door. Here, he is the traveler. The traveler smote. Smote means hit hard on the door. Again, the second time. Is there? And asked, knocking at the door, he asked, is there anybody there? He asked the second time. But no one descended to the traveler. Descended meaning came down. Nobody came down to open the door for the traveler. So nobody, but no one descended to the traveler. No head from the leaf fringe still leaned over and looked into his grey eyes. Here, leaf fringed meaning framed by leaf. Because we know that no one was living in that particular house. The house was in the middle of the forest, left alone. So, the grasses were growing there, everywhere, on the floor and fully filled with grasses, green grasses. Okay, so no head from the leaf fringed still. Leaf fringed means framed by leaf. And nobody peeped through the window, which is framed by leaf. And also leaned means to bend down. Nobody came down or peeped through the window to the traveler. So we see here nobody descended to the traveler to open the door. The traveler is knocking at the second time and waiting for him. Somebody could open the door. But did anybody came to open the door? No. No one descended to open the door for the traveler. And where he stood perplexed and still. Here the meaning of perplexed is wonder or surprised. Okay? Perplexed. So he was waited. In fact, he was waiting for a long time. Somebody could open the door, but nobody came, nobody descended for the traveler to open the door. And he stood perplexed. Okay? The next line. Leaned over and looked into his green eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the quiet of the moonlight to what that voice from the word of men. So here the meaning of phantom. Phantom means the host, something that is imaginary. Okay, so he believes that a group of hosts living in that particular house. And that dwelt in the lone house then. Lone, L-O-N, lone means lonely house. So here we can say that the traveler is imagining that a kind of host, is living that lonely house and they are listening. They are in a group and listening to the traveler, but they are not coming and opening the door. So they are listening. Who are listening? The host listening in the quiet of the moonlight. They are listening in the quietness of the moonlight to the voice of the traveler. To the voice of the traveler. Stood thronging. Here the stood thronging means standing together. Okay, the host. They are standing together and listening to the traveler. Stood thronging the faint moonbeams. Faint moonbeam means they were standing on the moonlight stairs. That stairs are going down to the empty hall and they were listening to the traveler. Okay? Stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall. hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveler's call. The lonely traveler's call shaken the whole houses. The voice echoed everywhere. Okay? Their stillness answering his cry. While his horse moved, cropping the dark turf, for the suddenly smote on the door even louder and louder. Meanwhile, what the horse was doing? The horse was busy with eating the green grass. In fact, it was so hungry. Okay, so and again the traveler knocked at the door at the third time we see in the chapter. So in this line, the poet imagines that there will not be any human being inside the house, but of course there is a group of hosts inside living. The hosts who were listening, not responding to travelers, and they might be listening to all that the traveler is talking about. Who is thinking? The traveler is thinking about. Okay? And stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight. Means in the moonlight they were listening everything from the traveler, the call of the traveler. Okay? And to the voice from the world of men. That means the voice from the world of men means the voice which was coming from the world of human being. That is the one who is there calling, who is knocking at the door, the traveler. And stood thronging. Stood thronging means stand together. Who is standing together here? The hosts were standing together, and faint moonbeams means they were standing on the moonlight. The stairs were going where? The stairs were going to the empty hall, and they were listening to the traveler. Okay? And while all these were happening, what was the horse doing? The horse was eating the green grass which is filled on the floor. Okay? And also it is, the writer says that the air is shaken and stirred by the call of the traveler. Okay? Traveler is knocking at the second and the third time also. Okay? So, tell them I came and no one answered. Again the traveler is saying that to somebody. He might have been promised to somebody that he should come here. Okay? Tell them I came and no one answered. That I kept my word, he said. Never the least stir made the listeners. Though every word he spake. Spake means the old English, it is spoke here. Okay, the meaning is spoke. Fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house. From the one man left awake. They heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plugging hoofs were gone. Okay? So the last line, the traveler says that, he said that, tell them, I came here. The traveler is giving a message to the listeners. He believes that a group of hosts is living in that particular house, and the traveler is saying that, tell them that I came here and that I kept my promise. I fulfilled my promise, but nobody gave any reply to him. Whatever the word he spoke echoed the whole house through the shadowiness of the house, and it might have reached inside the house also. Perhaps the host might have listened to him. Okay, that is the imagination of the traveler and the writer, how he wrote this poem. So finally, the traveler, what he does? Then the traveler rode on his horse. Then the traveler rode on the horse and went back. Okay. Anybody opened the door for him? Nobody opened the door for him. He knocked at the door 3rd time and nobody descended to open the door. And finally, he said that I kept my promise and I came here. And then I came and no one answered that I kept my word. Tell us that the traveler has made a promise that he would come to the house. So he told finally this word and he rode on the horse and went by. That is the last stanza of the poem says to us. Okay, students? So read the poem thoroughly, understand the word meanings and learn the word meanings and write it down in your copy. Okay? And also learn the 8 lines of the poem. Okay? Thank you for listening.